So, Sixers visiting the Hornets tonight before hosting the Celtics tomorrow. A pivotal Eastern Conference matchup. BS, it's on ESPN. Philadelphia 2-10 against Boston since the start of last season. Sixers' worst record versus any team during that span. The Philly team currently sitting in third place in the East, while Boston occupies fifth. Celtics just a game back of the Pacers for the 4 seed, and with that, the desired home court advantage in the first round. Back with Stephen A. So all of a sudden, both top seeds are up for grabs. Well, look at the Sixers first. 4 straight. They beat the Bucks. Can they take over the East?
I don't think they can take over the East. I think the East is coming down to Milwaukee and Toronto. There's no question. Now, Milwaukee has been compromised. Losing a guy like Brogdon, who shoots 50% from the field, over 42% from three-point range, I think that's a devastating loss for them because as the playoffs come in the fold, remember, you know this, you're watching playoff basketball. The game slows down a bit. Defenses get back. They collapse. They suffocate the lane. And unless you are a strong perimeter shooting team, you're going to have problems. Now, Milwaukee can make shots. The problem is their number one guy, perimeter shooting is not his strength. That's Giannis. That's the Greek freak. And we know what he's going to do in terms of his 27 points per game. He can do that for you. But when it really, really counts, and they suffocate those lanes, and they dare you to shoot from the perimeter, can you get it done? Toronto can get it done. I don't know if Milwaukee is that team. They're good enough to beat Philly, but is Philly going to make up that much ground, like 4 games, to catch them over the next 11? No. Next 11 to 12? No. I don't see them catching it. Philadelphia's going to be there as a 3rd seed as far as I'm concerned, but that's as high as you can expect.
So pencil in the city name on the crown yet. We haven't decided that one.
Right.
In the West, we've been watching this in slow motion, and because it's been going on all year so slowly, it's like, well, the Warriors will come out of this at some point. They are now finally just tied for the leadership in the West. What happens to them if this descent continues and they go in without the number 1 seed?
Nothing. Nothing.
Really?
No, I don't care. I don't care what. Listen, there we go. Listen, I don't care what anybody says. Listen, you got a superstar in Steph Curry, the greatest shooter we've ever seen. All right, this side of Larry Bird. You got Klay Thompson, one of the top 5 shooters of all time. You got Kevin Durant, one of the top 2 players on the planet. Excuse me. When it's time, it'll be time. Denver's formidable, but the biggest thing they have in their favor is their home court. It's in Denver, that high altitude. Right. Going to play in Denver could be potentially tough, but they struggle just as miserably as they are successful at home. They struggle miserably on the road. So when I look at it from that perspective, plus your youth, excuse me, you're puppies in this. You lost the season finale to Minnesota that was supposed to get you in the postseason last year. And now that you're getting to the postseason, I'm supposed to believe that you are a threat to the 2-time reigning, defending NBA champions with the greatest shooting backcourt we've ever seen. I'm sorry, I'm not buying. I love Denver. I respect them. I'm proud of those kids. But they're kids. They're babies, wet behind the ears, breath smelling like Similac. I'm sorry. When you're talking about the postseason, I don't believe it. I just don't.
And now that we're warmed up, we're out of time. Stephen A. Smith assessing it for us on The Big Show. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Keith and Sage here on SportsCenter. Oh, that's not Keith and Sage. That's LeBron and Giannis, because both of those superstars, I guess maybe someday in the summertime, they're out with injuries tonight. A sore left groin for LeBron, the same groin that forced him to miss over a month of action earlier this season. He was at shoot-around today. The game's in Milwaukee, just stretching, etc. No word on how long he'll be out, but again, it's that same groin that troubled him earlier in the season. Greek freak out because of a sprained right ankle. It happened during Sunday's loss to the Sixers. This is shoot-around today, but here's from Sunday when he collided with Joel Embiid. If you recall, he did stay in the game, scored 52 points too. He's really one of the best stories of the season in the NBA. There's also been talk about Giannis supplanting LeBron as the new face of the NBA. A reporter asked him about that today, and here's his response. Lately, people have told me that I cannot be the face of the league because I'm not American. I sat back and thought about that. Should I have a little bit more American swag? But man, if I can't be the face of the league being me, I don't want to be the face of the league, end quote. Stephen A. Smith joins me now. Okay, here's the thing. One of the reasons why so many people love Giannis is because he is himself. He's unique. He's comfortable being himself. He owns it. Can he, in your opinion, become the face of the NBA as himself, who he is?
Absolutely, because people appreciate greatness, number one. And number two, the NBA has done a marvelous job of becoming a global iconic brand. This is a guy that's averaging 27 and 12. He's dunking on people and screaming in their face in the process, daring them to do something about it. He's gained 57 pounds of muscle on his body since he entered the NBA. Also, keep in mind that we're talking about him playing for a Milwaukee Bucks team that has not won a playoff series since 2000-2001 when they went to Game 7 of a conference finals before running into Allen Iverson, who dropped 44 on them. They win a playoff series this year. They challenge for the Eastern Conference crown. Mike Budenholzer is clearly in line to be the coach of the year. And on top of it all, you're led by a guy from Greece who happens to be the most dominant force at this particular moment in time. I don't see why he can't pull it off.
Amazing to see how dominant he is and also so humble as well. Even he doesn't pay attention to stuff like this, but he is right now the dominant favorite to win the NBA's MVP award, Stephen A. I believe earlier you said Harden, right? If you had
yes.
to, Harden, is he still your guy? What can Giannis do to overtake him?
Well, James Harden can fall off, and Giannis can hold on to the number one seed while still being his dominant self. It's not anything that Giannis has done. It's the fact that James Harden has been nothing short of spectacular. James Harden didn't have CP3 at one point, didn't have Clint Capella at one point, didn't have Trevor Ariza all season. They had to go out and get Kenneth Faried, okay?
Right.
Didn't have Eric Gordon at one point. Injuries, bodies just falling apart right in front of James Harden's eyes. And what did James Harden do? He said, excuse me, I'm sick of this. I'm the reigning league MVP. Give me the damn ball and watch what I do. And proceeded to average over 40 in a month, drop over 50 on several occasions, average over 35 the entire season. And oh, by the way, after an 11-14 start, the Houston Rockets are now the number 3 seed in the Western Conference. Excuse me, there's really nothing to talk about as far as I'm concerned. Greek freak, love him.
So
He's
not
the
yet.
man. He's the man.
And eventually, I think we all believe he'll get there.
Eventually, he'll get there.
Yeah.
But the reigning league MVP right now is still the MVP, and that's James Harden. James Harden hasn't needed anything but the basketball to do what he's been doing.
And I also think people don't realize how difficult it is to do again after you have won it the first time. So we'll see that those results will be in a couple of months.
Special.
Very, very special. Also special, the Philadelphia 76ers. How special, though? We'll talk about that with Stephen A. coming up.
Hey, Tony, where there is drama all the time, and get into perhaps the least talked about interesting team of the season, the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, the drama's killing me.
In 8th place about a minute ago, the Spurs won their 9th straight game last night at home over Golden State to jump to 5th. DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, Rudy Gay, guys you've heard of, had good games. And a 4th guy I'm sure you've never heard of, point guard Derek White,
Never.
who could have been 5th on Pop's depth chart when
Could
camp
be
began.
Betty White's grandkid. I don't know him.
Anyway, what's the bigger story here? Spurs winning or Dubs losing?
The only significance of this game is San Antonio winning. As you say, this is their 9th straight win. On the way to 9, they've beaten Golden State, Denver, Milwaukee, Oklahoma City, Portland, and Detroit, all in the top 6 in their conferences. The Spurs are now good. They are officially good. The Warriors on this road trip did exactly what they said they wanted to do and had to do. You've been saying for 2 months now, the 2 teams that could beat them are Oklahoma City and Houston. They went out on the road, beat those teams. So the Spurs game meant nothing to them.
Well, it meant something to them because they're now in a tie with Denver. And I think what the Warriors want, Tony, at the top of the Western Conference is they don't need it, okay? But it's a little different. And suppose the 7th seed, I tell you the team that could give them trouble and extend them in the first round, which can make them vulnerable for later rounds, could be San Antonio. And San Antonio, as I said, is in 5th.
They're not going to finish 8th.
If the Dubs finish 2nd, they'd be playing the 7 team.
Well, this
Tony,
is the 5 team.
It's a game that separates these teams. Nothing separates 5, 6, 7, 8 in the West. Nothing separates
right now, this is a very good team. Can attention...
I agree with you, by the way. The headliner here is San Antonio. Tony, you thought this was the year that Pop would have so many disparate pieces he wouldn't be able to put them together. You said that in November.
Hold on, well, for 1 second. The San Antonio Spurs have missed the playoffs 4 times in 45 years.
Amazing, isn't it?
They have missed the playoffs once in the last 30 years when David Robinson got hurt, and then they drafted Tim Duncan. Nobody else has anything like this.
No.
And attention needs to be paid to them, and they're not finishing 7th or 8th. They're going to go up from here.
Okay.
According to Peter Vesey, who has covered the NBA for almost 50 years, who we know well, Doc Rivers has always wanted to coach the Lakers, and Magic Johnson would give him that job. Wilbon, you know Doc and Magic so well you can call them Glenn and Irvin. Do you see Doc leaving the Clippers for the Lakers?
Tony, the things you said, quoting Peter Vesey, and you know them to be true, about always thinking, I'd love that down the line somewhere, even as he coached the Celtics to a championship. Yes. Are the Lakers
Well, Luke
covetous?
Walton is not going to be their coach.
Are the Lakers covetous as they look down the corridor of Glenn Rivers? Sure. But I think there's some things in the way here, and I want to mention two of them. One, there are people in Southern California right in that environment telling Doc, you don't want to do this. And one of those reasons is simply LeBron James. I mean, he's been told by people, and I know this, LeBron didn't want to be coached.
He's never wanted to be coached.
He's never been coached by somebody with that kind of personality, command, authority, acumen, intellect.
He has rejected that.
He's rejected it.
Yes.
And so Doc is being reminded of that by people. The other reason is the Clippers are not looking at the Lakers thinking, we're going to be subservient to them. They're looking at the free agent class thinking, we're going to get us some of that, and we're going to add those pieces, whatever they are, to a playoff team. So the Clippers are not thinking of, Jerry West is involved with the Clippers now. They're not thinking of themselves as the little brother anymore, which they've always been.
Even though they actually still are.
Sure. Okay.
The Lakers are the most important sports franchise in Los Angeles, more so even than the Dodgers. They are the most important. If you're Doc Rivers, you live in Los Angeles. Nothing really changes in your life. Your commute is the same. The building is the same. You probably get a better parking spot with the Lakers. You still play golf at Bel Air.
Yes.
and you are with the most glamorous team. I agree with you about LeBron. I would ask you this, because to me, this is the critical question. Can and will the Lakers attract better free agents than the Clippers? If they don't, you don't want the job.
The question is, do you want to go in the 17th or 18th, I lose track of the number of years LeBron will be playing by next year, as great as he is, he's on my Mount Rushmore of basketball.
That's
he's on yours
important
too.
honor.
Do you want, if you are Glenn Rivers, at this point of your career, to have to deal with that? And maybe it's a great challenge. Maybe he would look at it and say, you know what? I'm not these other guys. I'm not like the rest of the boys in the band. LeBron and I can get together. We can do this. But I don't know. Nobody knows that yet. What do you think?
I would think that if you can coach the Lakers, that's a good place.
He scored an NBA career that predates the iPhone, predates the 21st century. He's outlasted countless hairstyles. Look at the locks there. He outlasted the team he was playing that night in Seattle. Sorry, Supersonics. He scored in the playoffs. He scored in the finals. 31,416 regular season points coming into last night. That is 4 shy of Wilt Chamberlain for 6th all time. Dirk knocking on that milestone. He's got the Pelicans and Anthony Davis in town, and here he's working on Davis, top of the key. Splash for @Swish41 on Twitter. Oh, yeah, he predates Twitter, by the way. His NBA career does. And then here, Nowitzki. Darn near the same spot. There's anticipation in the arena. The crowd goes nuts. They know it. He knows it. Here's how it sounded.
Luka beats Dirk. Top of the key again. Over Williams. Jumper's good. The wait is over to pass Wilt. Returning to 6th in NBA history in scoring, Dirk Nowitzki.
Said I just took my time and faced him up like I've done a million times, and I just tried to shoot over him. Yes, the feet may be a little slower. He's still just as tall and just as good with the jumper. Standing ovation, the tribute video. His wife is there. His ex-team there. Sean Marion is there. Mark Cuban. Here's Dirk.
Big Dipper, huh? Been amazing. Obviously, it's been a long time coming this season. Knowing before the year that was only 200-something points, and then there were times where I thought I'm not going to make it. I'm glad it's over with now. Tried to make it happen really the other night, really bad. The atmosphere was amazing. Just couldn't push it over the top. So it was good today to just get it out of the way soon with 2 shots, and it was great.
Now, 6th on the all-time scoring list. That's likely as high as Dirk is going to climb. He's 868 points away from Michael Jordan, and he scored just 237 on the season, has Dirk. Nonetheless, he scored by far the most points by a non-U.S. born player in NBA history, to go along with his 14 All-Star appearances and the 2011 NBA title.
So the game that actually happened between the Pelicans and the Mavs got crazy with 13 seconds left. Pelicans down 4. Julius Randle finds Elfrid Payton. Big three. Mavericks go to inbound, but watch what happens. Kenrich Williams steals it. Williams then finds Payton, who gives it to Randle. And watch Randle. Randle is going to dunk that. They were down 4, and now the Pelicans are up 1. 5 seconds left. Mavericks down 1. Luka gets the inbound and fouled. So he heads to the line. That's Doncic. He missed the first one. Chance to tie the game. Does it. 29 points. He had his 5th triple-double this season. We go to overtime, tied at 110. In OT, Pelicans down 1. Payton finds Darius Miller. That's the 3. By the way, Payton, his 5th straight triple-double. Pelicans snap the 6-game skid, and the Mavs are officially eliminated from playoff contention. We go to a playoff battle for the Heat. Thunder playing without Russell Westbrook, suspended, the technicals, Dennis Schroeder in his place. And this was an offense for the Thunder that really struggled in his absence. Goran Dragic gets the feed 67 feet away, passes to Dwayne Wade, makes that happen. The Thunder had 19 turnovers on Monday, and the Heat took advantage of the mistakes. They led by 11 after 3. Dragic now, his 6th three-pointer of the game. He had 26 points, 11 assists off the bench. Paul George still got his points, 31 of them, 9 rebounds. The Thunder were down by 6, but in this game, the 4 Heat bench players outscored their starting 5 by 18. Dwayne Wade had 25 points, 5 assists off the bench, and the Heat beat the Thunder 116-107. Next up for the Heat, though, at San Antonio, at Milwaukee, which is big when you think about what they're trying to do to make the playoffs in the East.
All right, we're framing this as a bad matchup, but great plays. Okay, so not a lot of wins combined between the Bulls and the Suns, but still great plays abound. How about in the first quarter? It's Shaquille Harrison with the Bulls up 10. Ooh, okay. Throw down left hand. Suns coach Igor Kokoskov said physically, strength, explosiveness, aggressiveness, they got us. Well, Robin Lopez is one of the they. Look at that throwdown from Robin Lopez. Something has gotten into him lately. 24 points for him, 20 or more in 3 of his last 4. He only had 20 3 times in the first 60 games of the season. And now in the fourth quarter, the Bulls trying to put this away. Wayne Selden up at Antonio. Blakeney. There's a lot. Is the air thinner in the desert? These are humans flying through the air. Lopez went for 24 and 7. Bulls over the Suns, 116-101. It's all well and good if you're not a great team and you're winning games, except for what if it's ruining your chances to get Zion Williamson?
Which is what I was thinking that entire highlight.
Well, I'm just verbalizing the thoughts. If the lottery was today, the Bulls would have a 12.5% chance at landing the first overall pick. The teams with the 3 worst records have equal odds at 14%.
Let's bring it in, bring it in. Hey, we go open this bottle of water up. We don't got no champagne right now. We got no champagne, but we got some water. We ain't satisfied, but we're gonna celebrate tonight.
I love that.
That's exciting. It's about as much fun as you can have with water, right? And if you're Michael Malone, you've been knocking on that doorstep, waiting, and now you have it. Nuggets are a playoff team.
The king is alive!
And if somebody asks you, just go and tell them that I am the king.
The phenomenon is taking over. Wow, he caught a body.
On top of the throne, and I will never be overthrown.
Oh, blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a chase down block.
I don't think there's one guy that can stop me.
Lakers at the Bucks tonight could be the 19th edition of LeBronis. So far, it's been all LeBron. 14 wins in their previous 18 meetings. He's also outscored Giannis by 6 in each of those games. I said it could be the 19th edition of LeBronis because Giannis is questionable tonight with an ankle sprain. We are going to try to make that stick. Here's Greeny with more.
All right, Nicole, thank you very much. And so with Giannis and the Bucks taking on LeBron and the Lakers tonight, LeBron, of course, now out of the conference. And so it does bring up sort of an interesting question as we head towards the playoffs. In your mind, who is the face of the East?
So that's yet to be determined. And I know we want to leap to the fact that LeBron is no longer there. He's dominated that conference, going to the finals almost every year, winning a couple of championships. But I think the postseason is going to determine the answer to that. For the regular season, you have to say the Greek Freak, because I think he's a front runner for MVP. But once the playoffs start, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, Joel Embiid are all going to have something to say. And ultimately, whoever wins the conference actually gets the answer to that
and
question.
Rose Stradamus says that face that will emerge, if you had to make a guess, who are you going to go with?
Joel Embiid.
I agree. You know what? I was going to say exactly the same thing.
You've only been saying it for a year.
And listen, I've only changed my mind 5 times. DJ is here. We got lots there. Ryan Clark, Laura Rutledge, Tom Izzo live 8:30 Eastern, and your guy John Beeline live 9:30 Eastern this morning.
Cut down the nets, Coach.
Get Up starts in just a few minutes. Right now, let's get back up to Bristol.